He graduated from, he did his PhD from JNU, so that's in your neighborhood. And he joined us 2 years ago, Zico, 3 years ago. Yes. So the university is young, and so are we. We want diversity, diversity of all kinds, regional diversity, linguistic diversity, gender diversity on our campus. And so we especially invite all of you to come and experience us. So at least before I begin, I want you all to know that the applications for the next year are open right now. You can go to our website and clearly you'll see there's a link which says apply now. Or apply here, I forget what exactly it says, and it's a simple application which closes on the 28th. So if you are interested, then you have about 3-4 days to apply. So keep that in mind. So now what I'm going to do is briefly run you through a PPT. I promise it won't be very long, and then let's just have a Q&A. Also, if you go to our website, there is a very well-made, I must say, video which advertises what our program is. So please do watch that. I don't want to play it here because it's already available online, and I would rather that you visit our website and watch it yourself, right? So I'm just going to outline a few things and then basically let this be a question and answer session, okay? So here we go. So I am the MA Economics Coordinator. And the intention of this program is basically to offer something different that's not offered by other institutions in the country. So our focus here is on, it's basically an applied focus, right? We want you all to be aware of the contemporary problems in India, be it in terms of employment, be it inequality, be it in agriculture, be it an identity crisis, be it a democratic crisis. So all the issues that are relevant for contemporary India, our focus is on that. And it is to teach you economics through this applied lens. Roughly, it's a 3-year program. Soon, actually, we're going to be 4 years. So I think the next batch is going to be the first batch in the 4-year program. So I'm going to speak about the 3-year program because the 4-year program is still not fully formalized. But in the 3-year program, we offered 72 credits in all. Sorry, I'm confused. So you guys are doing your bachelor's or you all are doing your 12th? What are you doing?
They're doing the bachelor's. They're looking for masters.
Okay, right. So then it's a 2-year master's program. It'll continue to be 2 years, and we offer you 72 credits at the end of 2 years. It's a full-time program. So if you're thinking of doing any kind of part-time on the side job, then this is not something for you. It's a full-time program, offers 72 credits. Now, what's different about this program? If you look at the curriculum very closely, which is not apparent here, but you can see it over here, you see in the first year, so there are 4 semesters, semester 1, semester 2, S1, S2, S3, S4. And if you look at S1 and S2, the first 2 semesters, you don't see typical courses like microeconomics, macroeconomics. Instead, you see applied development courses. So microeconomics of development, macroeconomics of development. You see a course on sociology, which is typically available, which is typically not offered to economics graduates in other institutions. You see a course on ecology and development. You see a course on political and legal institutions. So, what I was saying, that we approach economics through an applied lens is very apparent if you look at what we offer in the first 2 years. But we are also very aware that we don't want our students, especially those of you who are interested in pursuing a PhD, to miss out on what is taught in standard courses in other institutions. And so as electives, we offer some of the typical courses like microeconomic theory, advanced macroeconomic theory. In fact, Zico teaches that. So what I'm trying to say here, the bottom line is that we not just offer the standard microeconomics, macroeconomics, and econometric courses, but we also offer a wide variety of courses which is not available elsewhere, and which has a very applied India focus to it, development focus to it. Another unique aspect of MA in economics from Azim Premji is that everybody in the cohort, everybody in the batch has to do a 3-week field stint. So you see this field practice. This happens in the winter between the first and the second semester. Okay, so you spend 3 weeks typically in rural areas. When COVID was on, our students could not do this, and they were forced to, kind of do some online or in their immediate neighborhood field practice stint. But otherwise, our idea is to actually take you to some rural location and you spend 3 weeks there. Then everyone in the batch has to choose between either a thesis, a master's thesis, or a master's internship. Now this happens, the internship happens in the summer between the second and the third semesters. So between your first year and the second year. And basically you would be interning with some organization that does grassroots development work in some part of the country. Yeah, and if instead of internship you offer, you choose a master's thesis, then you will work closely with one of us from the faculty, and you will articulate a research question, and in a time of a year you will do your best to answer it. Okay, it could be a micro model, it could be a macro model, it could be an empirical question. So all flavors of theses are allowed, and we have enough faculty now to cater to a lot of specializations. Okay. Another unique course that we have at Azim Premji is something called Communicating Economics. So this is a course where we want to teach you how to communicate in a tailored, customized fashion to your audience. So you don't speak the same language when you make a presentation before other fellow economists. Okay, there you're allowed to use jargon. But if you want to make a presentation to policymakers who are not necessarily economists, or you want to talk to people who don't have a specialization in economics, say journalists, you got to communicate differently, and we focus on those skills in this course. I'm going to quickly run through these slides because I want to give a lot of time for Q&A. So internships, the last batch, again, there's a wide variety of internships that we offer. So somebody interned with the social audit unit, which is an audit of the MG Narega program in Jharkhand. Some other person interned with an organization called Saath, which works in Gujarat on micro enterprises. So I have a whole list which I can talk about if you're curious. But basically, these organizations work in a wide variety of fields, and you get to spend a good 8 weeks with them. I think 8 weeks is the right figure. I may be a little off, but you spend considerable amount of your summer with them. Future careers. So our MA in economics started in 2019. So we are a fairly young program. And the first batch, everybody right now has a job except for one student who's preparing for UPSC exams. So through the campus, people got placed someone got placed in the Andhra Pradesh state government. And then I don't know if you've heard of, probably you have, the Center for Sustainable Employment, which is a research body within Azim Premji University. So a few of our students got absorbed there as research assistants, and they're still working with us. We don't through campus students also got placed in the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. The CMI, which is right now the only organization that's producing country level data. This year, in addition to the people who came last year, we also have some additional institutions coming to interview our students. This is not the whole list. This is just a few names that my colleagues shared with me. So I'm going to stop now, and I'd basically open the floor to you. But before that, let me pause to ask if Zico wants to add something I've missed out on.
No.
So you don't want to add anything else? Okay, so ma'am, I think before we open the floor to the students, I think I could just ask the general questions that a lot of the people might have in their minds, and then I can open the floor to them for specific questions. Okay, so so as we were seeing the course structure, it seemed like a very course focused on a lot on the development economics. So is that right? Is that how one would pursue? So is it masters in development economics, or what the degree that they will get would be a general master's degree, but the focus internally is in development economics?
Yeah, so the degree that you get is a master's in economics with a specialization in development and policy. That's the degree. Okay. But because it's the main, it's a footnote, specialization in masters and specialization in development and policy, because like I said, we cover the standard stuff, but we focus on development issues. So it's a master's in economics with a specialization in development.
Correct. So then, ma'am, my next question would be that, typically if somebody is very interested in a corporate job, a typical corporate job instead of a job in the development field, so they would typically need maybe a couple of finance courses thrown in, econometrics, advanced econometrics. So is that also offered as electives in the elective options that you had?
Yeah, that's a very useful question to ask. So as a university, we don't invite corporates and for-profit institutions into the campus for placements. We don't do that. So you wouldn't say, for example, see a Hindustan Lever on Azim Premji campus for placements. But having said that, our students, even from the first batch, have on their own got placed in some corporates. In fact, I know that one of them, from the first batch, is working with Ernst & Young. Two of them got placed in CMI, which is not a for-profit exactly institution. It's a research-oriented organization. So we invite organizations that are in the development space. Okay. Like I said, some of the very well-known think tanks are coming this year. For example, ID Insight is coming. CSEP, which is formerly Brookings India, is coming. CMI, of course. We ourselves now, the Center for Sustainable Employment, is pretty much in the news. We absorb a few of our own students. And I see SEVA is coming. And then there are many very interesting NGOs who do actual grassroots work who are coming. Many of them work in the environment space, some of them work in the employment space, health, education. So you have a flavor of organizations. Now, about courses in finance, right now we don't offer specialization in finance. We are also growing faculty-wise. I don't know if in the future we will offer one, but we feel that there are other spaces or other specializations which are closer to the development space which we need to cover before we offer electives in finance. We do offer econometrics because impact evaluation and causal inference now is very rampantly used in the development space. So we offer courses in econometrics. We offer courses in climate change. There's an advanced elective that we are designing for subsequent future batches. We offer sociology, ecology, and democratic institutions courses in these, which are very eclectic and not offered elsewhere. Yeah.
All right, understood, ma'am. So, ma'am, since you have been from DSE, how would you, I know you've laid out a lot of differences between, let's say, a DSE program and an Azim Premji program. But if you had to put it in a nutshell, so is it like for people who, from what I saw in the presentation, like the internship also was driven by the college. Usually that doesn't really happen, internship at, let's say, DSE is driven by the students. The student body organizes, invites, and gets that done. So here a lot of this, the internships, the placements, the field work seems to be driven by the university.
So in terms of differences, so Delhi School of Economics is also very close to my heart. So is JNU, where Zico comes from. So, I'm not going to say anything to say that these institutions I hold in high regard and they're close to my heart. But so is Azim Premji. You're right. One big difference that you've pointed out is internships, field practice. The students don't need to organize. They just have to participate. So it's on the platter. Placements is a mix. We need students to volunteer to make it viable and interesting and diversify the organizations that come. So students have to volunteer towards placements, but again, they get a lot of support from the university and the economics faculty. We have a dedicated person who looks after, one among us, who looks after field components, which includes field practice and internships. Class size is a big thing that I'd like to emphasize. Class size, typically a batch size right now, what we envision is about 30 to 35, at most 40. We will never have a class size beyond 40. Which I think is a big difference between, I don't know JNU much, maybe Zico can say, but the Delhi school class sizes tend to be huge, and so some students get lost. That will not happen. Nobody's going to get lost in our class. In fact, you may get fed up with us. Now, I see only Saad, Rahul, and Richa with their videos on, and I don't know what's happened to the others.
Ma'am, typically in our classes, they're used to keeping their videos off. So I think
I wouldn't teach to a class with black screens. I just wouldn't. And I know most of my colleagues wouldn't either. So like I said, you'll get fed up with us perhaps at APU because we're constantly watching you. No, I'm kidding. It's a residential program and you have a lot of free time and time away from us, but you also have us constantly guiding you.
Ma'am, if I may ask about the fees, can you guide the students on the fees that they have to incur? Because that is one big difference that usually comes into play when students consider a private university versus a government university.
Okay, I'm now somewhat ill-prepared for this question. I know we are highly subsidized. Compared to Ashoka, Shiv Nadar, we are highly subsidized. I unfortunately don't have the numbers. All I can say is it's probably less than half the fees in Ashoka or Shiv Nadar. And also we offer 100% scholarships ranging from 100% to 50% or 25%. So 100%, 75%, 50%, 25% scholarships to needy students. So, again, you got to apply, and if you meet the conditions, then you can get 100% scholarship also. And my own sense is that the quality of education and learning that happens here is comparable to any other good institution in the country, or maybe even better, especially because of the small class sizes. So that combined with, even if you don't get any scholarship, the fees is less than half of what you have at Ashoka or Shiv Nadar, to name just a few institutions. And for needy students, we offer full scholarship also.
Okay. And ma'am, again, if you can give us a sense of the placement packages, because that is again a common question for the students, that what is like the average package that the students have been able that they've been able to get.
That's a hard one. I'll tell you why that's a hard one, and I'm not going to give you a statistic on that, because we just have a sample point of one.
Oh,
we just had the first batch graduate. While I have some sense of where they went, like I said, 2 of them got placed in CMIE, 4 of them got absorbed by the Center of Sustainable Employment. Among those 4, at least 2 of them have plans to apply to a PhD program, and they tell me they want to leave the country and apply to a PhD program outside. One of them is preparing for UPSC exams. So, really the cost to company and to lay it fully bare, we consciously don't invite big corporates. So, our average pay packages, therefore, will not be comparable to maybe a DSE placement package. It will be less. I can say that right away. But we want to attract students who are interested in the development space. And the fact of the matter is that jobs in the development space, on an average, pay less than jobs in hardcore corporates. I mean, nobody can change that fact. So we are more in that space. So if you are interested in working in that space, then we are the place to be. If you're interested, if you're looking at the MA as just a springboard to get into a very cushy, well-paying corporate job, perhaps we are not the place. Though, having said that, I don't think that's an impossible place to be if you graduate from us. It's just that you will have to do the legwork yourself, because we don't guide you through that space.
Understood, ma'am. So I think I pretty much get the idea of what Azim Premji is about, what the focus is, and what do I expect as a student if I had to go there, then a sense of what to expect from the course. So I think I've had that pretty well by your discussion, and I would now like to open the floor to the students. Everybody, I'm giving you the option to just unmute yourselves and ask a question, or if you want to raise your hand and ask a question, I will unmute you in case you face any challenge. But please, bring forth your questions now to Sir and ma'am. Ma'am, you're on mute.
So I said Saad, Ayush, Richa, and Rahul get the first chance to ask.
Any questions, people? You said, ma'am, the batch size is between 30 to 40, right?
Yeah. In fact, our first batch was 12. Our second batch was 26. Our third batch is around 20. So, but what I'm trying to say is we are not going to go beyond 40.
Okay, that's the maximum. Ma'am, Richa is asking, is there a precedent of students, going to UPSC, or how, like JNU is famed for, UPSC, that, there has JNU has this whole culture of UPSC where a lot of students sit together. So I think what Richa means is, how do you think other students' orientation towards UPSC, and, if any of them have gone ahead, and like you said, some of them are preparing for UPSC.
So the sample size is very small. We have only one batch that has graduated of 12 students, of which one is preparing for UPSC. It remains to be seen.
All right, ma'am. Ayush is asking that, is there hostel facility available? You said it's a residential program. So
it's
expected to be in the hostel of Azim Premji. And
Yes.
that is whether the student is a local student or he's an outstation student. Everybody is on campus.
Yes.
And that is
correct.
mandatory to be on campus.
Yes. Yes.
So again, sorry, this is about the fees again. So the fees is inclusive of the hostel thing, or is that going to be accommodation and everything is going to be separate to
I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for this question about fees, but what I do know is it's highly subsidized, even if you take into account the mess charges or the residential charges. It's highly subsidized. We are not a for-profit institution. It's a philanthropic exercise, the university itself. And for needy students, there are scholarships. If you meet the, whatever bar they have for, they have some metrics, parents' education, parents' income, and all of that. If you fall in the bracket where you're eligible for scholarship, you get the scholarship. And just to give you a sense, if half the batch has applied for scholarship and those people who have applied for scholarship have cleared the entrance and the interview, then all of them will get. So it's not as if we have a fixed quota. Only 2 students per batch are going to get scholarship.
Okay.
Anyone who's eligible and has cleared the has got admission into the program will get the scholarship. So, theoretically, the whole batch could have scholarship.
Okay. Understood. And anyone else? Any other questions? I think somebody wants to ask you about the entrance test. If you can guide on the essays in the entrance test.
Zico, do you want to say something about that?
So broadly, it is based on, so what we expect in those entrance exams are 2 things. First of all, that you are broadly aware of what's happening around. That's one. And second, you have some analytical ability to process that information. So basically the essay tests you both on your skills of analyzing a particular event and to what extent you are aware of the society or the economy around you. So it is always good to follow what's happening around. So Deepti, if you want to.
Yeah, so Zico is absolutely right. We are really not looking for you to spit out any kind of micro or macro theory that you get from a standard textbook. We're thinking about how your brain works, how your brain thinks, how your brain, if a fact is given to you, what are the deductions you can and cannot make from the scenario that's laid out. And if it's an ideological stand, what is the reasoning for you to have that stand? So we will not judge you on your ideology, but we'll judge you on your reasoning to get there. So it's that what we are looking for. And otherwise, so okay, about the entrance exam, there are broadly 2 flavors of questions. One is a multiple choice question. There are 40 of them. And the other is 2 essays. So essays, Zico already told you what we are testing for. For example, I think last year we had asked about something about COVID that, do you think the lockdown was a good idea? Something like that, okay? So you just you may think it was a good idea, or you may think it was not a good idea, and both answers are allowed. But we see at what is your reasoning for why you think it's good, or what is your reasoning for why you think it's bad. And coming to the multiple choice questions, so there are 10 multiple choice questions from microeconomics, and this is standard Halvarian, or if you are aware of the core textbook. These are questions from, standard stuff. Then there's macro, 10 questions from macroeconomics, 10 questions from what we call political economy, which tests you or awareness about Indian economics. And then there are 10 questions on statistics and basic econometrics. That's the multiple choice. And if you look at our website, it kind of gives you some information on how do you prepare for it. And I believe there are also some past question papers available. So like you said, like I said, this will be the 4th batch that will be taking our exam.
Right. Yeah. So the question paper is pretty much. Pratna, you have a question? Please go on and unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I wanted to ask whether there is any word limit for the essay questions, because I didn't find it in the question paper, the sample question papers.
Yeah, so our sense was that the space provided, we were doing physical paper pencil entrance exams, so the paper will be the limit. But I think now everyone's going into the online mode. So we've put for the next entrance, the word limit is going to be around 600 to 800 words.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else with anything else that they would want to ask? Maybe about the when does the session start? Or ma'am, were you on time even with the COVID thing? Like, did your sessions begin on time and end on time? Your semesters?
Yeah. So when the first lockdown happened, we're very dynamic. So I think we are. Through COVID, my own view, it may be biased, is that we negotiated that space very well, in the sense that we took a break. Everyone had to take a break when the first lockdown was announced, but then we very quickly went to the online and we changed our semester. So in a year, typically there are 2 semesters in a normal year, but then because of COVID, we broke it down to a trimester. Now we are back to semester. So with minimum stoppage, we bounced back. We came online. Of course, we had to do it online. We always go online when the government asks us to, but if the government does not put a regulation on us, we are in person. Right now, we are in person.
Yeah, so you must be back to offline classes now.
Yes, yes.
All right. Anybody else would like to ask anything else about any future prospects or the course structure or anything else? No, I think they seem to be clear. There aren't seem to be any more questions. So any other closing, sir and ma'am, if you would like to close this with some. Okay, Mayank has a question, ma'am. Mayank, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Ma'am, for the MA economics section, the eligibility is mentioned as undergraduate degree in economics, and it is written away that exceptions to this will be made on the case by case basis. Can you please guide us through this?
So basically, if you don't have an undergrad degree in economics, but you're interested in doing a master's in economics, you can actually sit through the entrance exam. Typically, what happens is cases like this are not too many, but they write to one of us. And we say, no, I mean, if you're interested, sit through the exam, entrance exam. If you clear it and you clear the interview stage, we'll call you for the interview. And if you clear that, we'll take you in. Meaning, it's not a must to have a degree, an undergraduate degree in economics, but because the entrance test tests you on concepts in economics, if you don't know those concepts, it's very likely that you will not clear the test. So you have to have, it doesn't have to be a formal background in economics, but you have to have attained that background maybe on your own by reading these standard textbooks to be able to clear the entrance test.
Ma'am, there's no requirement of you needing to have mathematics at a +2 level?
+2 is 11th and 12th.
Yes.
Yeah, there is no requirement. I remember in the first batch, there was a student who didn't have, in fact, she's the one who got placed in the state government of Andhra Pradesh. Okay. She didn't have maths in 11th and 12th, and she was one of the brightest students, I remember.
All right. So that's actually a big opportunity, because there's some colleges who have restrictions regarding mathematics being a core subject in their 11th, 12th. So it's not something that, if you have made up for it later on, some colleges still require you to have that degree. So if that requirement is not there,
No.
that helps some of the students here.
No. But, typically, like most entrances, it would be harder for you to clear the entrance without a mathematical background, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, so some of them cover it up, like they didn't study for whatever reasons in 11th, 12th, but then they cover it up later on.
Right.
Great. Anybody else would like to ask anything else? These are good questions which which could solve doubts for many, not just you. So if you have anything in your minds, you please come go ahead and ask a question. So nothing till now, ma'am. So sir and ma'am, if any closing line you guys want to give, and then we can close the session.
I'd just like to end with saying that if you're really interested in working in the development space, I think we are the place to be. If you're interested in pursuing a PhD, whether from India or abroad, again, we are the place to be. If you're interested in a high-paying finance job, at least at the moment, we are not the place to be, because we don't offer specialized electives in finance. Yeah, I think that would be my takeaway for you. And be aware that the closing date for applications is the end of this month. It's a simple application form. So if you're interested, or if you're on the fence, I would say apply. Don't let finances be a thing that holds you back, because like I said, we offer 100% scholarship to needy students. Yeah, and if you're interested in a place where there's a lot of interaction with the faculty, you're encouraged to ask questions and make up your own logical reasoning to justify what you see around you, then we are the place to be. Yeah, and before I close, I think Zico should be given a chance to speak also. But before I close, thank you for being here, especially thanks to Richa, Saad, and Rahul. And I think Ayush, I don't know who else had their videos on, for keeping the videos on.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Zico sir. Just one thing, question, ma'am. Ma'am, you said that you're the place to be if somebody wants to go abroad. Could you just elaborate on why would you say that, and what is it that Azim Premji can offer if somebody's very focused on going abroad for their PhDs?
When I say we are the place to be, there are other places you can be as well. But what I'm saying is that being at Azim Premji University doesn't in any way reduce your chances to pursue a PhD abroad, because like I said, we cover both the contemporary India applied focus that we as an institution have decided to adopt, as well as the standard macroeconomics. Many of us have done our PhDs from abroad, so we have our networks. You need letters of recommendation, we can we can provide you those, yeah, I mean, we know, just like any other place, where you have some faculty who've done their PhDs abroad, we know about what it takes to do that. So I want to emphasize that it doesn't in any way reduce your chances if your options, if that's what you're interested in.
All right, sir. Sorry, please carry on. Actually, please don't.
Yeah, no, so now nothing to add, anything additionally, Deepti has already said. But broadly, yes, I mean, if you are interested in addressing the present challenges of development, if you are interested in addressing the puzzles around you, if you're motivated as students of economics to address the real problems of the economy, so Azim Premji University will give you all the, will provide an exposure to all kinds of analytical tools and different kinds of debates and different kinds of experience to equip you to address these questions. Do apply to Azim Premji University if you are interested.
All right, everyone. So the last date is, I think, 28th Feb, right? That's the last day for application. So if development economics is your field, please go ahead and apply at Azim Premji. Don't miss it out. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Zico, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mahima. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, everyone. Everyone, take care. Bye-bye. We'll be ending the session now. Thank you so much for coming in and being there, being present for the session. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.